So what does it really mean to be a man today? I mean, that's a pretty confusing question, right? But what if the map to a deeper, more authentic masculinity wasn't in some new age book, but was actually hidden in an ancient fairy tale? Well, that's the core idea behind Robert Bly's classic Iron John. And today, we're going to unpack it.
To really get a handle on where we are, we have to look at where we've been. Bly charts this really interesting evolution of the American man. He starts way back in the 1630s with what he calls the Saturnian farmer, a guy who's connected to the earth. He's quiet, he's introverted. Then you fast forward to the 1950s, and the ideal is that disciplined, buttoned-up provider. But then, just a generation later, you get a reaction to that, which gave us the soft male of the 70s, a man who was thoughtful and gentle, but, as Bly points out, often missing a certain fire. So this leaves us in a kind of cultural tug-of-war. On one side, you've got the 50s male, aggressive, disciplined, but totally locked down emotionally. And on the other side, you've got the soft male, empathetic, receptive, but often feeling kind of passive or, well, drained. And Blai's big insight here was that neither of these archetypes felt whole. Something was missing from both of them.
Bly basically argues that this whole journey into softness, while it's definitely valuable, it isn't the final destination. And that, of course, brings up a huge question. If neither the tough as nails 50s male nor the gentle soft male is the complete picture, then is there another way forward? And according to Bly, the map to this third way isn't found in some modern psychology journal. Nope. It's hidden in a fairy tale that could be thousands of years old, a story from the Brothers Grimm called Iron John. Okay, so the story kicks off near a king's castle, right next to this enormous forest. But here's the thing about this forest. It's got a problem, a big one. Hunters go in and they just don't come out. After a while, everyone just learns to stay away. It's this place of deep mystery and danger.
Then, one day, a new hunter shows up, totally unafraid. He heads into the forest with his dog, and as they're walking past this murky pond, a bare arm just shoots out of the water, grabs the dog, and yanks it under. But get this, instead of freaking out, the hunter just calmly says, "This must be the place." He knows he's found it.
So the hunter gets some help, and they literally bucket out the entire pond. And what do they find at the bottom? This huge, massive man covered from head to toe in rust-colored hair. This is the wild man. And for Bly, this guy is a massive symbol. He represents the deep, instinctual, masculine energy that our clean, orderly modern world has tried to bury and forget. Now, the story kind of pivots here, from the wild man to the king's young son. And to really get what happens next, we have to think about something that we all kind of lose as we grow up. Like Freud once said, there's this sad contrast between the radiant intelligence of a child and the feeble mentality of the average adult. We lose something along the way. So the king's young son has this favorite toy, a golden ball. But listen, this is way more than just a toy. It's a symbol of that wholeness, that radiant unity we all have in early childhood before the world starts splitting us into good and bad or masculine and feminine. And this is where everything kicks into gear. The boy is playing and then bam, the worst thing happens. His golden ball, his radiant wholeness, rolls right into the wild man's cage. He goes up and asks for it back, but the wild man, he names his price. He basically says, "You want your wholeness back? You got to set me free." So this is the boy's first big test, right? He wants that ball back more than anything. But the cost? Unleashing this totally wild, unpredictable energy into his orderly world. He feels trapped. He tells the wild man, "I can't. Even if I wanted to, I don't know where the key is." And then, this is the story's great secret. The wild man leans in and tells him exactly where the key is. It's not guarded by some dragon or hidden in a vault. He says, "The key is under your mother's pillow." I mean, just think about what that means for a second. The mother's pillow. It's the absolute heart of the home, of comfort, of all her dreams for her son to have a safe, civilized future. And the story is super specific here. You can't ask for this key. It has to be stolen. It represents this necessary, decisive break from being the good boy in order to become your own man. And that is exactly what the boy does. He waits for a day when his parents are gone. He finds the courage to take the key, and he goes to the cage and opens the lock. He makes a choice. He chooses to reclaim his golden ball by setting the wild man free.
And with that cage door open, the real journey begins. Iron John swings the boy up onto his shoulders and carries him deep into the forest. He makes the stakes crystal clear. You'll never see your mother and father again. It's a total break from the old world, but he promises something incredible in return: the hidden treasures of the wild masculine soul.
And what we're seeing here is a perfect picture of what's called male initiation. Traditional cultures, they all understood that a boy doesn't just stumble into becoming a man by getting older. He needs a kind of second birth, where older men actively welcome him into their world. And Bly's whole argument is that this is precisely what our culture has lost.
So why is this initiation so necessary? Well, Bly points a finger at the Industrial Revolution, which created what he calls the remote father. Before that, a son saw his dad's work on the farm, in the workshop. Today, a father's work is often abstract, happening miles away in an office. This creates this psychological hole in the son, and it's often filled with suspicion or just a feeling of being disconnected.
Okay, so we've got the story, the caged wildness, the lost golden ball, and the stolen key that starts this whole journey of initiation. But what on earth does this ancient story actually mean for us, right here, right now?
This is really the heart of it all. The goal isn't to become some kind of brute, right? It's about getting back in touch with a positive, fierce, and, this is the key, life-giving masculine energy. Bly calls it Zeus energy. It's not cruel, but it is decisive. It's an energy that can protect and create, an energy that knows what it's about and goes after it without apology.
And that leaves us with one final, really essential question to think about. The story suggests that the whole journey begins by first identifying the wild man inside. So the real work is to ask yourself, what vital, hairy, instinctive part of you have you been taught to lock away? And what would it take to find the key?